Hello everyone and welcome to Paperback Journeys, where today we're going to play fiction roulette. So it's that time of the month again where I use this to decide what I'm going to read from this. Oh, almost dropped on. So basically every month, with the exception of last month because I was a little bit busy, I use the wheel to decide 4 titles that I'm going to read and review for the coming month. I usually read more than 4 books, but this wheel just helps me to decide what I'm going to be reading. The wheel's filled with things that I'm excited to read, so there really is no losing this game. There's no booby prizes or anything like that. I'm excited to read all of this, but the wheel just helps me to nail down these are the 4 books that I'm definitely going to be reading, and then anything else I read is a bonus. Okay, so let's talk about what's on the wheel for the month of July. First up is The Dog Stars by Peter Heller. This story centers around Hig, I think his name is. Yep, Hig. And he is living in an abandoned airport hangar alongside Jasper, his dog, and also I think he has another companion called Bangley, who is this kind of gruff old guy who's always armed. And the situation is that there's been a massive flu epidemic, and it's taken out most of humanity, and these are some of the last survivors on Earth. Together, the 3 of them have kind of found a routine that they've fallen into. I think their position within the airport is heavily guarded, but then one day they receive a mysterious radio transmission that gives them some hope of some kind of life beyond the little world that they've created. And so they decide to leave the safety of their airport hangar and go off and pursue the message that they've received over the radio transmission. I think this book is supposed to be quite heart-wrenching. It's meant to be very vivid, the writing style, and very gripping as a narrative. So yeah, this is one that I've wanted to read for quite a while. The Dog Stars by Peter Heller. Next up is a very niche kind of book. You've probably never heard of it. It's Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I don't need to tell you what this is about, do I? It's probably one of the most famous books of all time. On the surface, it's about Captain Abraham pursuing a white whale, but I think the real reason that people read this is for the rich symbolism and the kind of allegorical layers. Like, now I'm nervous because I'm 99% sure that allegorical is a word, but if it isn't, I look like a dick. Moby Dick. The next book that I'd love to read in the month of July is Recursion by Blake Crouch. A couple of months ago, I read Dark Matter, and I thought it was okay. It was sort of like middle of the road, but I've been told by a couple of people that Recursion is actually a better reflection of what the writer is capable of, so I want to give Blake Crouch another chance. Do you hear my dog scratching at the door? Do you want to meet my dog just really quickly? Everybody wants to see you. Everybody wants to see Poe. Look, this is Poe. Oh yeah, I know. You made it. You made your debut. You've already met Milton, my other French bulldog. This is Poe. He's a skinny little boy. We feed him a lot, but he's just so skinny, aren't you? We named him Poe after Edgar Allan Poe because we got him on Halloween, and also when we saw him, his eyes just looked haunted. You looked haunted, didn't you? Yeah, you looked like you'd seen things. Okay, sorry, just been running around with my dog. I had to pause the video and sort of tire him out a little bit. Okay, so Recursion. Yeah, meant to be better than Dark Matter. So this book is about a New York City cop. It's set, I think, in the future or maybe an alternative reality where, yeah, a New York City cop is investigating something called false memory syndrome. And it's this kind of like weird condition where people are getting memories or receiving memories from a life that they never lived, and it's kind of driving them crazy. And then a secondary character is a neuroscientist. She is kind of working on this technology that allows people to relive memories from their past, but relive it as if they're, actually living it in the moment. So the first time they were ever kissed, or maybe when they lost their virginity, or the day that they got married. These big epic moments that fill us with joy throughout our life. And so she's working on this technology, and it seems as though these two things are interlinked, and maybe there's some kind of problem with the fabric of time, and that's what that's what Barry is investigating. Sounds really interesting, and so hopefully I enjoy this a bit more than I did Dark Matter. We'll have to see. This next book is set in medieval France, and it's about a disgraced knight called Thomas, and he finds a young girl who's been left alone in the wake of the Black Death, right? So this is a period in European history where it wiped out. I actually don't know how many people were wiped out. Should I look it up before? Yeah, let's find out how many people did the Black Death wipe out. Oh, whoa. That's crazy. Between 75 and 200 million. It took out between 30 and 50% of the population of Europe. I don't know why I thought it was less than that. If you would have asked me to guess, I would have said 20 million, which still crazy, but not quite as many as actually passed away. So yeah, this is set in that time. And Sir Thomas finds a young girl who is alone in a village. The whole village has been wiped out by the plague. She believes that this plague is part of something bigger, and that it's actually been brought upon the earth by fallen angels, and that Lucifer is planning a second war against heaven. She thinks that Sir Thomas and her might be able to play a part in that. And so I think in this book, the knight is fighting against literal demons. Sounds as though it's a little bit like the game Dark Souls or something like that in the book version. So yeah, I'll be very interested to read this. Next up is a book that has been on the wheel for so long. It's Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I've never read any Robin Hobb. I plan on reading a lot of Robin Hobb for the rest of 2024. I really want to get stuck into the realm of the Elderlings, which is basically the entire universe that Robin Hobb has created. And it all starts with Assassin's Apprentice. This is the story of Fitz, who is a royal bastard, and he is recruited to be an assassin for the monarchy. I feel like I've spoken about this book quite a lot because it's just been on the wheel for so long. I'm hoping that eventually this does come up. I'm hoping it comes up this week because I really want to get started with it. I've seen some other reviews of this book, and they say things like, it's kind of it's a slow burn, so it's quite divisive in a way. Some people, they think that it's too slow paced. Other people think that it's really in depth and it gives the characters time to come to life before they go off on adventures. And so yeah, I think for me, I predict that I will like the slow pace because I love character development. So yeah, please let it come up this week. Assassin's Apprentice. Next book is part of a trilogy. It's Wool by Hugh Howey. And this is about a society that live down deep underground. They've lived underground for so long that the idea of living above ground has sort of faded into legend. Nobody alive in this society remembers what it was like to live on the surface. Nobody even remembers why they moved down here. They only know that above ground it's dangerous and you shouldn't go there. But some people believe that up there it may not be as dangerous as it seems. And so the kind of government that's ruling over the society underground doesn't want that idea to spread because they think that idea is dangerous, right? Because if people start to want to go up there, then they're gonna bad things are going to happen to him. You know, whatever it is that's happening up there, bad things are going to happen to him. So I actually watched the TV series of the TV series is called Silo with Rebecca Ferguson, and I thought it was really good. And I think that the second season is coming out soon, so I want to get started with the series. I really like the world, but when I was watching the TV show, I kept turning around and saying to my wife, you know, this will make a great book. This should have been a book. This should have been a book. I didn't know it was a book. The next book that I would love to read in July is Shelter by Young Yin. I believe I'm pronouncing that correct. This is the story of Kyung Chao, who is a father of a struggling family, and he's kind of living in the shadow of his more successful parents until one day a violent incident causes him to have to take in his parents, and so they move in with him and his family, and now they're all living under one roof, which brings a lot of tension and challenges. And the book kind of explores family duty and violence and past resentment. I'm expecting a lot of tension, the kind of tension that can only be brought on by past resentment within a family. You know, when you're at Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner or something, and the uncle gets a bit too drunk and starts bringing up stuff from the past, and everyone goes, you know, that kind of thing. The thing that I've heard most about this book is that it's meant to draw you in from the very early pages, like straight away you're invested in the story. So I always love it when a book can do that. Next up is a book that I only own on audio format, and that is You Like It Darker by Stephen King. This is a collection of short stories, and last year I read Everything's Eventual, which was another collection of Stephen King short stories, and I just really liked it. I think that Stephen King's short stories sometimes go under the radar when compared to his longer books, and so I hope that I get a chance to read You Like It Darker this month. Last month I read Cujo in preparation for You Like It Darker, because I think that there's a short story called Rattlesnakes, which is a kind of like semi sequel. It's like I think there's a character from Cujo that's featured in the short story Rattlesnakes, and it completely spoils Cujo, apparently. This is what my cousin told me. So I read Cujo specifically so that I could read You Like It Darker. For that reason, I do hope it comes up this month. I always like a bit of Stephen King. With that said, I didn't love Cujo. I didn't love the book Cujo. I thought it was just okay. And then finally, these dark spots here and here, because you can't really see it, they're just going to represent a continuation of Joe Abercrombie's series. The next book that I'd like to read from Joe Abercrombie is The Heroes. I'm not going to tell you what this is about, because I think there's going to be spoilers from previous books in the series. Even though this is a standalone book, I think it has characters from the First Law. And so, yeah, I just don't want to tell you anything about this book if you've never read The First Law. But the First Law trilogy, if you haven't read it, and if you like gritty, dark fantasy, you should definitely read it. I think it might be my favorite dark fantasy, or grim dark fantasy, I guess you'd call it, that I've ever read. Last month, I read Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie, and I thought that was just fantastic. I can't wait until the movie comes out. Again, starring Rebecca Ferguson. She's getting a lot of work from book adaptations. So, yeah, I just think she's a fantastic actress. I think that's perfect casting. And I'm really excited for Heroes. I'm yet to read a Joe Abercrombie book that I haven't loved. Let's spin the wheel, shall we? Let's find out what I'm going to be reading for the month of July. So many good books. I wish I could read them all. I wish I was a really fast reader and I could just read all 9 or 10 of these books. You know, we'll have to see. By the way, if this comes up twice, let's say, for example, if I get this dark patch twice, then I'll read 2 Joe Abercrombie books this month, right? Also, we're going to be going by the dongle. We're not going to be going by the arrow because the dongle is more decisive. See this arrow? It can land right dead center, but this dongle always makes a decision. So that's why we rely on this thing. I don't even know if dongle is the correct term for this thing, but it's what I've sort of stuck with. So anyway, let's stop rambling and spin the wheel. Here we go. The Dog Stars. Okay, so The Dog Stars by Peter Heller is the first book that I'm going to be reading in the month of July. Exciting. Okay, next up. This is what I'm saying about the dongle. It's pointing at this thing, right? That's why I say it beforehand. All right, so the dongle has chosen Joe Abercrombie Heroes. Come on. I think that's good because this one seems like quite a short book, and then this one is a tome. All right, anyway, let's find out what the third book is I'm going to be reading in July. The Dog Stars again. All right, let's spin it again. Recursion by Blake Crouch. All right, so we're going to give Blake Crouch another chance. I hope that what I've heard from other people turns out to be true and that this is a little bit better than Dark Matter. Again, it's not like a massive investment of time either. It's not like a really long book, so I feel that it's okay to take a gamble on returning to Blake Crouch. And yeah, hopefully. Apparently this is so different to Dark Matter, so yeah, let's give him another try. Okay, now let's find out the fourth book that I'm going to be reading in the month of July. You Like It Darker by Stephen King. All right, so those are the four books that I'm going to be reading in the month of July. Again, those books are The Dog Stars, The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie, Recursion by Blake Crouch, and You Like It Darker by Stephen King. A couple of these books are a little bit shorter, so I think I might be able to sneak in a few others from the list. My dog's scratching again. He is not gonna be ignored today, so I better wrap up this video. If I had to choose another book from the list that I'd like to read, it's probably going to be Assassin's Apprentice, only because it's been on the wheel for so long and it just kind of feels mean to the book to just leave it on the wheel. I know that's ridiculous to say, but it does. It feels like I'm neglecting this book, not intentionally, because I'm desperate to read it. But yeah, so I feel like if I get through these books before the end of the month, I'll probably read Assassin's Apprentice. If you'd like to see my recap of the month of June, then you can click up here to see that video. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and happy reading.